Okay, just check. Yes. Okay, here we go. Okay, hi. Good. I'm sorry I'm a minute or two late. I was having to drive around a little bit to get here. Okay, today's a special day. We're dealing with Jupiter, and Jupiter is one of the more complicated planets. It takes time to figure out what it means or see it as a function. But we dealt with our inner planets, Mercury, Moon, Mercury, Venus. They hold together in trying to make our choices, our selections, our needs, our wants, and put the order in for the Sun to pick up on what's going to provide confidence. Then the Sun gets empowered and dumps it on Mars. Let's go for it. So Jupiter is the next planet. After you've done something, what next? After you're going for something, what's next? So Jupiter, when you read about it, it's the planet of good luck, good fortune, abundance. Everything seems to be positive about Jupiter, but really there could be more negative things from Jupiter than can almost come from any of the other planets. But Jupiter takes some time to figure out. Jupiter develops in time. We hear good luck. Why? Because it's a planet of understanding. Understanding in itself, understanding is a great word. What do you think? Understanding, what's it mean? Standing under. Standing under what? Of course, the stars. How do we get our understanding? By standing under and being receptive to the heavens and to the planets and how they can affect our lives and adjusting our lives accordingly. So this process of what's understanding. You ever met anybody who was doing things but you didn't think they knew what they were doing? You ever asked anybody, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? How on earth would anybody, why would anybody on earth ever do that? Jupiter's a puzzle, and it's an experiential puzzle that develops in time. It's based on the experiences you've had or not had. So as we gain experiences, we develop some comprehension of what works and what doesn't work. But it takes a few experiences to get it. Like when we first learn to stand up with Mars, we stand up, we fall over, we cry, we stand up again because we can do it. Then we start walking and we do it, we make mistakes, we do it, we go back and forth, and eventually we get our bearings around how to use the Mars energy for standing up and walking. And for running. And we use our muscles and we begin to, there's so many things we can do in life, and Jupiter is the wisdom that comes from the experiential understanding. So Jupiter is the guiding light, the understanding of your life. It's how you guide, how you decide what's worthwhile. It's not what's worthwhile, that's Venus. What do you want? What do you like? Jupiter, what's right? What's wrong? What will work? What won't work? How do you expand and get more than what you have now? How do you get stronger? How do you get more active? How do you get better at sports? How you do things better? It's how many experiences have you had? How many experiences do you want? How much better do you want to make them? Usually the processes of making things better is a process of trial and error, of working at something, making mistakes, fixing mistakes, working at it again, trying to do it better, trying to make it better. So that incentive to do something better, that's Jupiter, to the ability to comprehend what you're doing. So your comprehension level, it's going to affect, not only are you accumulating your wisdom from the experiences you've had, but your wisdom that you've accumulated will guide you towards what experience you want to have or what you're still going to do. So what happens if you got it wrong? You ever met anybody who's always failing or always in trouble, or you ever got into something that was just losing or angry or violent or fighting or gross? All of those things, which we're going to get into from the time we're 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up through our life. We have Mars energy. It's going to go out, and as we put our energy out, it's going to affect someone else. If we're pushing, someone's going to have to react. If someone's pushing us, we're going to have to react. And sometimes we push back and forth. This is all part of the push and tell of push and do, the desire for experiences of Mars. But for every experience you have, some understanding clicks in. Or, perhaps more commonly, some misunderstanding settles in. You did something, you weren't first, somebody pushed you out of the way, someone interfered with what you're doing, you didn't do as good as you thought you did, you didn't get the raise, you didn't get the promotion, you didn't do the things, you weren't able to do the things you wanted to do. Wow. That's kind of a misunderstanding. Have you ever done something for someone and they took offense at it and you didn't mean offense? That's a misunderstanding. Has somebody ever done anything to you and hurt you and you didn't like it and you got angry about it and you wanted to react about it and they didn't mean it that way? That's a misunderstanding. It could be argued that in the world there's far more misunderstanding than there is understanding. So it's a big challenge to develop good principles, good morals, correct understanding in your life. And what's the value? If I'll just do what I can get away with, I'll just go on adrenaline. So the adrenaline for Mars is the energy in the adrenaline, and expanding and going further on it, taking it further, let's party more. That's the Jupiter. That's the misunderstanding, encouraging unrestrained aggression, unrestrained action. Well, whenever someone's too angry, too forceful, unrestrained, too pushy, too strong, it implies there's a lack of understanding. If they're that strong and they use their energy and it hurts other people, or it doesn't come out as expected, that's misunderstanding. That means they used their energy before they understood it well. So this is very common in the martial arts. You learn to be physically active. You learn to fight. You take it because you want to fight. You want to be able to defend yourself. You want to have strength and energy. And you're taught it. But as you learn it, you're taught how to be peaceful with it, not how to be aggressive with it. And if you pick up on the aggressive side of it, usually you'll attract accidents or problems, and you won't have a right understanding, and you won't be as good as other people. So too much force is a problem. Too much anger is a problem. Almost too much of anything that's Jupiter is usually a problem. So trying to go expand beyond what you're capable of. Taking a job that you're not ready for. You really can't do that well, but you're going to push to make it happen anyways. That unrestrained ambition or use of force is based on misunderstanding. Of all the things you do something, you break something at home, you fall off a chair, you fall down the stairs, your parents get mad at you, you get grounded, you think it's no fair. That's Jupiter. Now your parents could punish you wrongly. That's understanding parents and understanding this wasn't fair, this was very severe. And there's so many ways that we develop and refine our understanding, our comprehension of what works and what doesn't work, what we can do and what we can't do. Not only what we could do or can't do, how far we can go and how far we can't go. Also, see, it's hard to understand Jupiter because it's based on your experience of Mars, but it's also really based on the structures of Saturn and the karma of Saturn. So if Mars is the muscles and Saturn is bones, all of life's experience are a mixture of muscles and bones. The understanding tells you when to push, when to stop, when to recharge, when to listen to your bones, when to listen to your Mars, or to your muscles. So if you look at your chart and you're trying to see Jupiter and you're trying to see where do most of my misunderstandings come and why do they come? Well, look where Jupiter is. You'll see it in the signs and houses. You'll see the understanding and you'll see the misunderstandings that can happen there. So Mercury is making sense of things inwardly. The moon is feeling about things inwardly. Venus is valuing things, whether it likes it or doesn't want something, not wants it. But those are all inner qualities projected out. Mars is putting energy blatant out. You hit a drum, good note, bad note, someone's going to hear. You're offbeat, someone's going to hear. You're doing something, people are going to notice. It's going to affect other people. That's Mars. When you put energy out, if you're aggressive in any way, by words, by speech, by action, by thoughts, just there's many ways a person can be aggressive or Martian. And usually when we're overpumped or we're trying too hard or we're expanding too much or exaggerating, whoa, we make mistakes. So actions and mistakes, doing things and having failures or results of things, the results are really the Saturn, the limitations. Jupiter is understanding how much discipline is needed to be able to achieve something. If I want to achieve something, I can guide my actions to go in that direction, but usually it works best if I can see how to learn how to do it better. So Jupiter is called, in India, it's called the guru or the teacher. It's how you learn how to do things. How do you learn to ride a bike? You know, did someone hold it for you when you try and get up? And usually someone holds it for you for a little bit and then pushes you a little bit further. Sometimes you have training wheels. I don't think I have training wheels. I think we just crash or die. You know, like you got on it, held for a minute or two, and then push it or go. But there's many ways we learn things. We learn to stand up. We learn to compete. We learn to be physical. We learn to be an adult. We learn to be sexual. We learn or not to be, and out of all the ways to be sexual, not everybody has a good understanding of it, but everyone can make their moves. Or so how we do things is based on our understanding of what we can get, whether we can do it, whether we can't, and whether it's right or wrong, or principled or unprincipled actions. Wow. So Saturn is your parents, giving you the rules and the structure around which you can do things. You can have good or bad parents, but Saturn is authority figures. It's your teachers. We're going to come to Saturn, but Saturn is, what have you done with your life? What have you accomplished? How disciplined are you? How much can you, how are you prepared to work? Your work ethic is kind of Saturn, but Jupiter, your capacity to work and achieve things is Saturn. Your discipline is Saturn, but Jupiter is your understanding of the value of power and the value of discipline, the value of force and the value of restraint. Do you know when to stop? You can speed, but can you put your brakes on in time? Do you drive with a heavy foot and you're speeding faster? Do you drive faster or slower? Are you more disciplined or more exaggerating? So the principle of understanding, to learn things, you have to get the experience. You have to try things to learn. That's Mars. I tried this. I fell over 20 times before I learned how to skate. You know, and I still fall over sometimes. Or I had to do this so many times before I could make that dance move, or before I could get accepted or accomplish things at work, before I figured this out. It's not, the mental figuring gets sometimes confused, but mental figuring is just making sense out of it. Jupiter's understanding the rights and wrongs of it. I did something, was it right or was it wrong? You know, I wanted it, so I did it, but it may not be right or it may not be wrong. So does your conscience guide you as to what's right or wrong? How healthy is your Jupiter? Is your consciousness? Are your principles? Are your morals? So this ability to develop this comprehension, and the greater the comprehension you get, the more you can do. But sometimes the wiser you get, the more you learn what's not worth doing. I won't do that anymore. I won't do that anymore. Generally in a lifetime, by the time you're 25, you look back to the teenage years, and there were gangs and bullies, and you were with some of them, but you're glad to get rid of them. By the time you get far away, you've got your own little world as you're older, and the old bad guys aren't normally around. And you seem to have gotten away from them. Wow, I did something right. But there's always things that are right and wrong. There's always power to do things or not do things. So guilt and shame and sorrow and confusion, these are all Jupiterian afflictions, Jupiterian problems that affect how we do things.